So at the table, we had a situation where, of course, it came out that Gino said, well, no, my apologies. Jovi decided to put Gino in a position where he said, listen, why don't we call the number that you obviously, you looked up, obviously, at the time when you said that you obviously saw Jasmine's call log. And then obviously Andre got involved, Elizabeth got involved. There was a whole mess about it, okay, folks? So with that being said, it looks like Gino has decided to come out with evidence proving that he did actually check that this was Matt's number, despite the fact that on the show, it showed that the number that they were trying to ring, nobody was there to answer. So therefore, it looked like as if Gino may have not been telling the truth. But as you can see, Gino obviously puts in the number here and also obviously confirms that this is Matthew's number. But then also adds in this was Matt's phone number at the time I pulled Jasmine's phone records after I found out she spent all night at his house and cheated and lied to me. He has since changed his number. You can clearly see it matches the number in Jasmine's phone records on the following pages. This was before last resort and before I was tricked into agreeing to the open marriage. He then carries on obviously with the next one itself, in particular where he shows us, of course, the actual phone logo itself from Verizon. And as you can see, he says Jasmine's phone records that I pulled up right after she spent all night at Matt's house and cheated on me. I could not see. So I could see this was going on 3 months before last resort and 3 months before I was tricked into the open marriage. And obviously we can see the call log itself in particular here, where obviously it is repeating itself. And also the date up top where it says January, well, actually it's December 14th to January 13th is obviously the billing period of obviously 2024. But then also he continues with another one here where he says Jasmine's phone records that I pulled up right after she spent to be fair, it's basically repeat the same thing again as any folks, so let me not repeat myself neither, and obviously gives us a little bit more in that one, on that one. And then of course another one showing us even more. Now of course in this one here, it does show us the same dates, and then obviously this one it then shows us the dates of February 14th all the way to March 13th, as you can see there, folks, okay, of 2024. Then of course we move on to the next one where he's put down, this is only the appetizer, stronger evidence of cheating, lying, and hiding a relationship behind my back to come shortly. Stay tuned. And obviously he decides to come in and obviously deliver us with some more information. And as you can see here, he responds to someone by saying, I have evidence of this as well, more to come. Okay, which of course is 2 to 2.5 months before agreeing to open marriage or before the last resort. So he then comes in with this little cheeky one itself in particular, where it shows that this is 2 months before the last resort and before open marriage date, top left. And obviously he shows obviously here, this is Matt and this is Jasmine on February 22nd of 2024, which is right at the top of this image, okay, see, as you can see, folks. And then obviously he puts on only 6 months after our marriage and during a week of my birthday, January 24th. It was supposed to be the biz trip only, cheating, lying, and having a relationship behind my back. Jasmine spotted from 90 Day Fiancé at Magic Kingdom today. And obviously that today was February, no, it was actually January 22nd of 2024. Yeah, that's January, yeah. And then also on top of that, obviously, as you can see here, Jasmine and Matt obviously together. Let's just go back, that was a bit too quick. Obviously, this is Jasmine here in the light purple. I've followed obviously with Matt behind, of course, with the, I guess, kind of type of different purple trousers, shall I say, and grey top. So of course, I guess he really is coming in with the tea. He really is dropping the receipts. Usually, he doesn't drop any receipts. This is the first time Gino actually says something and he actually come through with the evidence. So you know what? I'm actually happy to see some evidence for the first time ever from Gino's accusations. So this is quite cool. Well, it's cool that he's got evidence, but it's not cool about the experience. And then also, as you can see, it's obviously been reposted, obviously in different pages, of course. And as you can see here, Jasmine, obviously, as you can see, at Disneyland Paris, so Disneyland Florida, I'd imagine. And obviously, as you can see, this is her chilling with, well, not with Matt, but obviously in the same venue, obviously Matt was at. Very, very interesting. So that means Jasmine would have traveled to Florida, obviously with Matt, obviously at even earlier stage as well. Maybe they went there and actually realized that's what they wanted to live. I mean, honestly, this opens up a whole can of worms. Whichever one you want to go. But, this is not just it. There is more to this situation, folks. There is more to this situation. So let's get into the next part of this madness. Jasmine obviously came out with some very interesting posts of her own, obviously soon after Gino had posted his ones. I mean, obviously, this is one of those things where we can either, decide whether or not Jasmine is responding to Gino or if not. But as you can see, she came out by saying, see how everybody criticizes me and accuses and accuses of cheating for something my husband agreed to. But when it comes to an American woman doing worse, everyone finds it fine and starts defending them. How do we call it? Oh, because I'm Latina. I mean, if we look at Angela Dean, people have definitely not been afraid to call out Angela Dean for her behavior, and she's an American woman. And then also, even when Kimberly was on the show, or Kimberly was on the show, people definitely, called her out for being a thirsty. Let me stop right there. So to be fair, there has been American cast members that have definitely been, called out in the past, to be honest, that have been female. So I wouldn't go as far as saying that just because she's not American, nobody's calling her out. So for me personally, I would say this is somewhat of a reach, but you can obviously let me know your thoughts. But also at the same time, this doesn't actually necessarily go against what Gino said. It doesn't prove anything against what he said in any type of form. It feels like she's more trying to deflect or change the subject onto something else. That's what it feels like. And then also here she says, still waiting for evidence of me cheating, 3 reasons and still nothing. Bear in mind, folks, she posted these things literally after Gino. So we just saw it. There's a whole catalog of things and there's also pictures as well. So to be honest with you, her to come out that there isn't any evidence is quite bizarre. And then also continues by saying, every time there's a Latino person in the show, see how we're treated by their own cast. Oh, so this is her now throwing shade at the cast members, probably because at the table people have been on Gino's side rather than being on her side. So that's probably why. But we continue. It doesn't happen when they're Eastern European or from any other part of the world. Look at the current situation in the US. Who is all the hatred directed to? Us, the Hispanic people. Oh, I see what she's really doing is she's really trying to now divert the whole situation and make into this whole political thing that is obviously happening right now in the USA with ICE. Now listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that she's necessarily wrong because maybe she's onto something. But at the same time, let's kind of track back now with some of the Hispanic people that we've seen obviously on the show that have come from South America. I mean, obviously you got Thias and Patrick. To be fair, people definitely did question Thias, you know what I mean? But at the same time though, I think people question Thias more because people felt as if she was too good looking for Patrick. And also Patrick, it was very clear that his whole game was based on the fact that he could provide a life for her. So to be fair, stereotypically people obviously had that opinion because Thias kind of fell into that. I'm not saying that it's right that she was judged, but when you fall into a stereotype, it's kind of peak, isn't it now? And then also we had Larissa and Colt. I mean, come on now, nobody was really going to believe that relationship was authentic, to be fair, for the most part, because why the hell would she want to be with Colt? And then, or Colty. And then also we look at Larissa when she moved on to Ellie Key. And to be fair, her whole thing was always about money, 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 money. So that didn't necessarily help the case so in particular. I mean, maybe with Karine, maybe we can argue and say that, okay, maybe no already had that opinion. I guess to be honest with Karine and Paul, nobody liked both of them for the most part. So yeah, even that doesn't really support Jasmine's kind of point of view per se. I mean, I wouldn't say her point of view even really supports Thias or Larissa, to be honest with you, because they came with a certain stigma around them anyway, and they really lived up to it. But at the same time, a lot of people do like Thias now anyway. Jasmine is making it seem as if nobody likes any of the Latin Americans, but like, yo, let's not mess about. People don't have an issue with Thias now. Now they've obviously seen how happy and how Patrick can become as parents, also their appearance on Pillow Talk. So yeah, people have definitely had a change of heart. So it's not like as if that's not possible, you know what I mean? And then also when we're looking at the situation with the throuple, Annie, Amini, and Matt, let's be real, I think for the most part, people probably prefer to be on Annie's side more than Amani and freaking Matt anyway. So there's also that part as well. So to be honest, I do feel like she's kind of punching the straws a little bit here with this comment. But again though, there's definitely been plenty of people, and to be fair, when Yara first came, she speaks about used to new people, but when Yara was first on the scene, people definitely called her out by saying that they felt as if she was only here to be a gold digger, and she was only here to obviously, get the visa and whatnot. So there is that part. And then also there's Natalie as well, obviously from Russia. People have definitely called her out for her behavior. Then you got Anfisa, she's also been called out as not Eastern European person, you know what I mean? Judy's definitely had her fair share of people calling her out too. So to be fair, I would say it's been quite balanced for or the women, should I say, that have been called out from other countries. So Jasmine talking about how this is directed at the Hispanic people only is just a bunch of BS, because everyone has been called out, to be honest with you, for the most part, the more I think about it. So yeah, this is Jasmine really trying to deflect away from the fact that it seems as if she's been caught red-handed. But then also on top of that, we continue where she says, just think about it. We have a white person with superiority complex yelling at the top of his lungs, get out of my country. I reported you to immigration, blah, 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 and taking zero accountability of the bad husband and person he was. Are people saying anything about it? No, not on the cameras, neither most people watching it, not even one cast member stepped and said something about it. Why? Because people find it okay. Well, first and foremost, I may not be a cast member, but I've definitely called out Gino for saying that she needs to get out of the country, all that kind of stuff. I've definitely called him out for pretty much, being on that line of racism, if anything. But like I said before, if I was in America or even here in the UK right now and somebody says go back to Africa, that is definitely seen as a racist freaking a phrase or whatever. So to be fair with you, I definitely called out, but I guess she just doesn't watch my content. But then also on top of that, regarding no cast members calling out, I mean, like I said, Cara actually did call out. The only problem is that she downplayed it. She did say to Gino, you can't be calling her B-I-C-T-H, and nor should you be saying to her go back to Panama. But then she said, but I understand it though, which is definitely something that didn't help that didn't help the situation in the end. But to be fair, it has low key been caught up, but I get it though. On the grand scheme of things, there should be more cast members calling out Gino for saying things like, get out of my country, because that shouldn't fly in any shape or form. And also, let's not forget, Gino realistically is an immigrant, because the guy is Italian. You know what I mean? He may have been born and raised in America, but he has obviously Italian heritage. So to be fair, someone could easily say the same thing to him, to be honest with you. Hell, who knows? Maybe people have said it to him before in the past. Who knows? You know what I mean? So to be fair, he should actually understand. But then again, there's some people, because they're born in a certain country, they believe that they don't fall into that category of people that have ever suffered the term get out of our country. And that is just pathetic and sad. So to be fair, I do agree there should be more cast members doing it. But at the same time though, at the last tell, not the one yesterday, but the first one, part one, there was the time when people did say to, I think it was Yara and a few others, they said to Gino, you should just let it go, like just like stop trying to get it deported, like it is what it is. And Gino was like, no, blah blah blah. I mean, maybe you can see there's a form of people trying to kind of support Jasmine a little bit, but it's not really, is it? So to be fair, I will say that people should have stood up for that aspect. But again though, this is what Jasmine's doing right now. She's now getting me and all of us talking about something completely different that is away from the fact that Gino has now exposed her. But I'm not gonna forget it, folks. I'm not gonna forget it. And also, as you can see here, you know what I love about being Latina? My mama didn't raise a pendeja. Pendeja? I'm going to assume that's the word. I know the word. I'm hoping that's how it's been spelled the whole time. Let me know if I've got that right. Pendeja. I prefer people not liking me because I always speak my mind with no filters and without giving a. I mean, listen. End of the day, just because you speak your mind with no filters and all that kind of mumbo jumbo and you don't get people liking you, it doesn't mean that you're right when you do speak your shiz. Let's just call it what it is. And then also on top of that here, as you can see, Jasmine also comes in by saying, first night at the mansion, people asking me, did you use Gino for a green card? I didn't hear anyone asking Gino. To be fair, there is that part. Yeah, there is that part, to be fair. Because people forget that Gino obviously found Jasmine on a freaking Sugar Baby website. To be fair, the question shouldn't only just be, did you use Gino for a green card? The question should also be, Gino, did you use your money just to see if you can get Jasmine under your thumb? Did you think that money was going to allow you to take a woman in your life and control her? Because to be fair, I have always questioned him. Also, she continued by saying, why did you share Jasmine's nudes and made her lose her job? The whole job thing. Listen, it's crazy because there's some people that still believe that Gino is the reason why Jasmine lost her job due to the nudes. But then there's also other information that says that Jasmine had already lost her job way before that anyway, and it had nothing to do with the nudes. But hey, she wants to continue the narrative of the losing the job as a Gino. Well, do what you got to do. Why you didn't drive her anyway or help her get a driver's license? To be fair, that is a good point. Or good question, shall I say? Why you didn't include her children in the visa? I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I still do generally believe that Gino purposely skipped those kids in the visa because he didn't want them there. He was hoping he could start a life with Jasmine and, obviously have a kid with her. But also, most importantly, I reckon that the main reason, and I don't know why I haven't thought of this before, maybe someone else has, I generally do believe now that bigger reason, the real main reason Gino didn't really care about putting her kids on the visa is because he didn't want to have the financial burden. Because, of course, he knew how expensive it was to obviously cater to Jasmine's needs, bringing her kids along with her at the same time. Oh boy, that would have put a hole in his pocket, especially given the fact that he had plans of quitting his job because he wanted to live off the 90-day money. So there's also that part. So to be honest with you, he probably missed him for that reason. But at the same time, it doesn't change the fact that Jasmine had the responsibility of making sure Gino put her kids on that freaking visa. You know what I mean? And she should have said to him, listen, let's my kids on the visa that I'm not leaving Panama. At the end of the day, she can keep putting the blame on Gino, but ultimately the blame falls ultimately on her, mostly on her, if not 100% on her, because it's her responsibility to make sure the kids were there. And then also on top of that, continue here by saying, why did you quit your job without telling Jasmine? But even though you were free 24/7, you still neglected her of any kind of help. To be fair, there is that part of something particular, isn't it? Yeah. Because it's nicer to portray the narrative of the poor American being taken advantage of. Oh, so Jasmine believes the reason why he quit his job is because he can look like that poor American. Damn, I never thought about that perspective. Maybe she's got a point. Who knows? But for me personally, I just think that, I mean, somebody said before that they think that he quit his job because it was a financial gain for. It's like if he quit his job, then that means he wouldn't have to pay for something. I forgot what it was now. It was something involving, liability for something. But at the end of the day, it was brazy. And then also here, as you can see, she continued by saying, I just want to apologize to, I believe this is Michelle, which is Gino's sister-in-law, and also see Nikki for being for their phone numbers being exposed on social media by the person. I'm truly sorry. So that means, of course, when Gino was exposing the evidence of Matt in that call log, he obviously exposed two numbers that obviously was not supposed to be exposed, which is obviously a shame. And that does suck. To be fair, Gino should have really covered them up. Anyway, with that being said, he continues here by saying, for those wondering about the purple profile pictures of so many, myself included, let me share why. The color purple is being used around the world to raise awareness about gender-based violence and to honor the women who have suffered or lost their lives. It started as a protest movement in South Africa, but now it's spreading everywhere because the message is universal. Enough is enough. First and foremost, that is amazing. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, that there is a message that is obviously being spread around the world to obviously these people who are going through these problems. And listen, shout out to Jasmine, obviously putting this forward. But at the same time, though, I do feel like Jasmine also added this in it to divert people away from what Gino has done, to be honest with you, at the same time. I'm not saying that she doesn't believe in this and she's not a big supporter of obviously, bringing awareness of what's being spoken. And I'm not saying any shape or form, but the timing of it is a bit simply because since Gino's come out to say that, all of her posts haven't really been directed responding to Gino's, be more directed deflecting away from that. But either way, though, it's still nice to know that obviously she's obviously doing something good there. Now, of course, Jasmine obviously would not waste any time by saying, reading your messages, thank you so much. And this is her, of course, bringing in some positive messages of showing people that do support her. And as you can see at the bottom, she says, I never imagined to get this much love and support. And obviously, as you can see, people obviously giving her support by saying, you're 100% right. The entire season the entire season, every single cast member had done nothing but blame you because of the open marriage. However, absolutely nothing about how shitty Gino was as a husband. He did not do his part and he should be taking accountability for it. I can't even believe a 50-plus-year-old man is even having the time to do drama. He should have grandkids by now. Sick. That part, let me know. Do you agree with that statement, folks? Do you agree with it? Let me know. And then also the next one says, no matter how much drama that the ex of your tries to drum up, and I know they edit this show to spark drama, I see you always rooting for women and trying to lift them up. And you don't get enough credit for love and kindness you bring to the fellow female cast members. I see you. To be fair, that person's kind of low-key got a little bit of a point there. Low-key got a point in there, but I see that. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts, please, folks, in the comment section. And then also we continue where it says, we didn't forget Gino and his fake narrative about are so irritating, so over him acting like an innocent victim. That part. I think that the majority of people see Gino for who he is. I've been hashtag Team Jasmine for a long time, and I'm so happy to see you thriving and living a beautiful life with Matt. You deserve it. Let me know your thoughts on that one. Yeah, subjective. Anyways, continues here by someone else saying, "You are amazing. Gino was never a husband and was so toxic for you. He's an absolute cunt. You fly away to a beautiful place, leave him in the bitter gutter, so he's okay. You're okay. Yeah, that one was definitely going places. Let me know your thoughts on that one, folks. And the last one here was, of course, saying, you're an amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. The only person any women doesn't have your back is because they clearly haven't watched the show from the beginning. He was a bully and he's delusional. I hope you heal and let Matt look after you and your children. Your inspiration." I mean, I wouldn't go as far as saying Jasmine's an inspiration, but hey, I guess she's made her impact on those certain people. Oh yeah, and then obviously that was the end of it, because obviously now she goes and starts talking about her gym life. Oh yeah, and then this part as well, her obviously showing a picture of herself in 2023, April 19th. And as you can see, one day I will show the whole story. So this one here was quite a cliffhanger. I want to know what this whole story is, because this whole story must have something to do with Gino, given the fact that everything that is going on here is related to her situation with Gino. So I do wonder if we're ever going to get that story, and if that story comes, is it going to come at a time when they're both off the show, or she's off the show and her contract is over? But I'm looking forward to hearing it, but I'm not looking forward to what information we're going to hear, if that makes any sense, because the picture stuff in particular doesn't exactly look very positive, shall we say. And then also here, as you can see, she puts down and obviously confirms the whole situation when she came out to tell everyone that she was having twins, or twins were here. She puts, "My sister-in-law is having twins, not me babies, but I'm so happy because this is the first time ever in the family. What a blessing. I think I'm actually starting menopause. My period is disappearing and I get hot flashes too." So hey, if Jasmine ever says that she's pregnant again, I guess that's going to be a miracle, right, folks? It's going to be a miracle. And then also on top of that, she also continues by saying, for the ones calling me a narcissist, I've been working a lot in my mental health, and so far this is my doctor's diagnosis. History of present illness. The patient of 39, this woman really is 39? Damn, I wasn't believing it personally. But anyway, the patient is a 39-year-old woman who presents for a psychiatric evaluation for depression. She has been experiencing significant emotional fluctuations since relocating to the USA in 2023. Interesting, because this post itself in particular is actually in 2023. So I wondered, okay, interesting. So that means something went down when she obviously arrived in Michigan with Gino, I'd imagine so. And then obviously, as you can see, visit diagnosis, mild recurrent major depression, referred to behavioral health, PTSD, referred to behavioral health again, and generalized anxiety disorder, GAD. Okay, I've never heard that one. That's a new one, to be fair. I've never heard it before. And also, mental health should only be diagnosed by doctors, and is something that should never be used to shame anyone. Yeah, I'm gonna say subjective on that one. I'm gonna say there's a lot of people that have mental health issues, and we don't need to get diagnosed by doctors. You know, but to be fair, there are some of us that, regardless of our mental health status, we wanna conquer it on our own accord rather than go to a doctor and get put on meds. That'd be me. I'll never want to be put on meds. I'd rather find and create my own mechanisms, you know what I mean, to help me cope and all that kind of stuff. But hey, that's a whole other conversation. We're not here for that. Now, with that being said, I definitely want to know your thoughts and your opinions in the comment section, folks. Obviously, Gina's had his say. Jasmine's had her say, but for the most part, Jasmine's say was more a deflection, if you ask me personally. But at the same time, I do respect the serious matters that she did address that should not go over people's heads, like obviously bringing awareness to obviously the situations in Africa that is now spreading, and there's also being obviously cautious of people's mental health as well. But hey, with that being said, and also on this one as well, I really want to know what's going on here, folks. But nonetheless, though, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section and we can talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.